Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so like I said, welcoming everyone to the expert session today. We've had web development class since last year, 2024. We've taught different parts, tried to look at web development using HTML, CSS, JavaScripts, including React. We also delved into the masterclass, started doing stuffs around Git and GitHub, where you could have the opportunity to, um, um, host your code or probably store it in a repository where it will no longer live on your local machine, but something that could be accessed anywhere, and you could equally share the link, and people could get to see what you've done and projects you've built and all of that. So that also helps in advertising or publicizing, telling people that this is who you are, this is what you've done, and this is what you've been doing. Yeah, so even into the masterclass further, we also talked about WordPress, and we've been practicalizing WordPress equally because there are diverse parts to web development in particular. We have that part where the part of code, right? Now there is code and no code. Some they are low code tools, right? So it's diverse. It's something that you just need to explore. Exploring the part of code, also exploring the part of no code or low code tools. Probably that could help you in churning out some stuffs very fast. Yeah, probably prototypes of some startups and all of that. So that's really about it. And one of the climax points of a class was also to have experts in software engineering who would come talk to us, tell us about their experience, navigating the challenging field of tech, because it's one thing to learn tech, it's another thing to get a job in tech and to thrive, right? So, people that you see earning a lot of money and all of that, they've probably put in so much energy, so much effort and all of that into what they are doing to get to where they are. Yeah. So, we have with me our guest, Ugo J4. So, he's a software engineer. I think he would speak more about himself. Yeah, so I'll just hand the floor to him. Ugo, you're welcome.
Hi, everyone. Um, my name is Ugochukwu Ogujefo, but you can call me Ugo. So I've known Ifyok for a very long time. Um, I think I knew him through the game of chess. I think that was since maybe probably like 2011 or so. Like that was a long time
Sure.
that, 11, 2012. So, but I'm here to talk about my path through my career path in software engineering. Um, so I think I stumbled upon software engineering with I think with some friends of mine who were equally friends of wisdom, Emmanuel and Collins. And but currently, I'm currently working. I do. I work for a couple of companies. The first one is called Rose Digital, New York. And but I'm part of the project. So it's a company that does a lot of projects. But I'm part of the team that maintains the New York lottery systems. So that handles the games and the lottery winners and everything, setting up the infrastructure and all that. So, and for the company, I'm working as a senior full stack developer. So sometimes I work on the New York Lottery front end. That's the design and the user interface and user experience. And some other times I could be assigned tasks to work on the back end stuff, setting up the database, setting up the servers, setting up the cloud, computing software and all that. And then also I also work for a company called Datify. So Didify is a no-code platform, kind of like WordPress. Uh, it's a company in the UK. And so, but where we distinguish ourselves from WordPress is, or the selling point of the company is, after developing your pages and your website, you can actually download the code. I don't think WordPress, you have access to the code. So you can download the code and ship it out of the Datify servers and maybe ship it to another different server like AWS or something. So for the company, I'm working as a solutions architect. So that role is basically, I think they gave me that role because initially I started with them as a senior full stack developer, and then I worked with on a project that we were tasked to deploy an LMS, a learning management system for the Kenyan Central Bank to Azure, that's the Microsoft cloud servers. So I was able to do that and they were impressed with the work. And so they made me a senior solutions architect. So that role is just basically usually in usually in the company, software developers don't really have access to communication with clients. So that role gives me the opportunity to communicate with clients and help them solve their technical needs, give them technical advice, for example, what servers they should use, what software they should use for their websites, and just give them that technical path to launching a very good product. And so that's my role. So I'm usually in meetings with like potential clients. I'm trying to convince them to use the Didify platform. I'm also improving the platform I work on. So we're trying to introduce like AI into the platform to generate the Didify code and all that. So that's where I am currently. But to get to this point was a lot of work. Um, a lot of work, and obviously, if you're working really hard, and then God finds a way to bless your work and all that. So I will say I've seen the hand of God in my life as well. Like it's no joke. So I started out with just like you guys. I started out with HTML, CSS. I learned some WordPress as well, and then so that's for the front end, and then for the back end. So initially, I wanted to be just front end, because I liked front end a lot, but I realized I was just lazy. So someone convinced me to learn back end as well. So I started with PHP as the back end. And so I think what helped me a lot was I started in my youth service. So I was working with my uncle. So my uncle produces furniture and all that. So I didn't really have much to do. So, and at that time, that was in 2015 or 2016, I never believed I could be relying on web development to pay my bills. I never believed it. Because if you know the normal Nigerian mentality now, if you build website, how much is it? Like, very cheap. I never knew I was going to make money from it. So I just told myself that, okay, let me just master a skill and be very good at it. Everybody was saying coding is hard, coding is hard. I was like, okay, I'm bored, I'm not doing anything at work. Let me just pick up coding and be very good at it. So my intention wasn't really to make money from it. My intention was to master the craft. So I was just so by the way I was able to master the craft was repetition. If I don't understand it, or if I don't understand it, just keep on doing tasks, building simple projects like a to-do app or something during my spare time. Maybe build a calculator with PHP or JavaScript or something. So that's what I was doing initially. And then until I think I stumbled upon, I think it was a friend of mine that saw some of my work. I think it was Collins. His name was Collins. He saw some of my work and it was like, why don't you go online and try to get, uh, because there's this there's an online ecosystem where you can actually um, have the chance to what do you call it, to get a job, foreign jobs like Upwork, freelancer, Fiverr. So he was advising me to get on Upwork and try to advertise myself there to see if I can get a job in web development and all that. So initially I was a little bit skeptical because I think some of you will be facing it as well, like that feeling of you're not there yet, you're not there yet. So but the way to overcome that feeling was so initially I was just solving all these minor code problems to try to understand how like for loops, if conditions work. So I think what gave me the confidence to apply for jobs and um, be very confident in interviews was I started using the tools I learned to actually build real projects. So I'll go to a website like, let's say, like like a simple website like maybe Jumia.com, and then I'll try to build something like Jumia.com using what I knew at that time: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and then the problems I encounter on the way, I could Google it and try to solve the problem. So that was also by the time I built about one or two projects, I started having some confidence, and then I just put myself out there. So I think with the with the technology I had at that time, I couldn't really get much. I don't think I even got a job. So I think it was when I got to the UK. So because I never knew that PHP was, and that was another thing. So you have to always understand what's going on. You have to be in forums and all that. So at that time, I never knew that PHP was being phased out and that most companies were not demanding that PHP skill, PHP Laravel. And so, luckily for me, but I was very stubborn at that time because I was like, okay, I'm very good at PHP. Why should I learn something else? Like, I don't know. You might have come across some of these your lecturers, and so I had that mentality as well. They see some lecturers who come with their old books, old textbooks, and all this, and they don't want to change. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing. It affected me a little bit as well because I had spent so much time, and
Mm-hmm.
you know how difficult programming is. Spend so much time learning it, and then all of a sudden, I get to the market, and I'm not I'm useless. Sure. So I had to adjust. So luckily for me, so I did. I got to do my masters in the UK. So when I went for my masters in the UK, there was a guy I met, and he was pushing me to learn React and Node.js. That's JavaScript for the backend. That is what most companies are looking for and all that. So I now took the risk. Okay, but before that, there was this before I even met him, there was this other guy. And so this is how the hand of God was working in my life a little bit. So when I was in UK, um, I wasn't really I was kind of finding it difficult like in UK, paying bills and all that. So but so where I was staying, I had a flatmate from Ghana. So every time he was always about to leave the house, he will see me in front of my computer, like trying to build websites in like I think at that time I was trying to build like a jobs website, kind of like a Jobberman using PHP. And so he was always pass and he'll see me doing this, pass and see me doing it. So he got to a point where after some time he was like, what do you do? So I told him what I did and everything. So unfortunately for me, he was having issues with his final year project, and his project was to build a website. The website was similar to Pinterest. I don't know if you know Pinterest. So what the website was, so the way he was planning to make money from the website was on the website, you could upload a picture of like a dress, and then once you upload the picture, at that time there was this thing called image from Google. I think it's called image. I'm not sure if it's image AI or something. So at that time there was, I don't think it was AI, but I think it was image. I've gotten the full name for of the Google product. So we send the image to Google, and then Google helps us find, get characteristics from of the image. You know what kind of image it is, what kind of dress it is, and all that. And so we now use that information to find um, websites where the user can buy the dress. From the if the user comes to our website and through our website it goes to like Zara.com or Jumia to buy the website, Jumia sends us a commission. So that's what he was doing for his final project. And so it was like whether I can help him out. The person that was doing it for him wasn't doing a good job. And so I seized the opportunity and then helped him out, and he was successful. Um, he successfully passed his dissertation, as well as he was even given an award. So we're even given a Sunderland award like that for the project. It was a good project. And so that's how I was able to get the opportunity. But I had a co-worker with me. So there was later on he got one other guy, one white guy like that to join to join the project. And so the guy was always telling me to get into React, that PHP is phasing out, it's being phased out. So that's what gave me the okay, let me just learn React and Node.js. And so after learning React and Node.js, I so what I did was while learning the software, I was also building projects with the software. So I built about 3 projects. I think one of them was like a sports news website similar to like ESPN.com. And then the other one was, I think the other one was quite complex. It was a health news website. So basically, what the website does is to get the website gets articles related to health terms you're looking for. So if you're looking for information about cancer, for example, so the website uses a software from Python called Selenium, and then what Selenium does is it goes to, so okay, let's say you're looking for a information about cancer in like Portugal. So in the website, I had like list of popular health websites in Portugal. And then so what Selenium would do is Selenium would go to those websites and find articles about cancer and get it and show the user. Yeah, so I was able to develop something like that. That was really hard, but I was able to do it. And so with that project, I was able to get a job, my first like really good job. Um, they saw the project and they were really impressed with it, and they just hired me immediately. And so my first job was with Tissimo. I think the site is still up. You can go to tissimo.co.co. Um, it's a music learning platform. So I was a lead web developer for that project. So I had to like develop like a classroom video conferencing where the teacher can, just like Zoom, what we have now, where the teacher can interact with their students. But in addition, there was an on-screen guitar, on-screen piano, so that the teacher can teach students how to use a piano, how to use a guitar, and all that. So again, it's not something I've built before, but the thing about programming is once you understand the tools, once you understand your software, whether it's PHP, whether it's React, whether it's WordPress, um, so whether it's WordPress, you should be able to build complex stuff like that. So I was able to set up that kind of thing. And then with that project, I was able to get some other jobs as well before I got the 2 jobs I'm working on now. So it's been I'll say like a 7 year journey. Um, yeah, so that is basically my history. A reason should I keep going or
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Ugo. I think you've you've done a lot of exposition, right? So Ugo has been my friend, and of course we've been working together. Yeah, eventually into software engineering, just as he said. And so at this point, I think I will just have to give room for questions. So we have just an interactive Q&A session now for just about 15 minutes. Then after that, we'll go into the next segment where he would get to talk about the should I say the striving parts, you know, how
yeah.
you can strive, beat the odds. Sometimes you might think, is this thing really for me, right? Can I do it? You understand? You know, he will also get to tell us were there times of self-doubt, where he was thinking, I'm adequate or something, and probably he could from there give us some kind of motivation. But at this point, I think would give room for questions. If there are any questions, we would like to take it. So you can just raise your hand if you have a question, or you can put it on the chat box also, so we can read it out. Okay. So while we are waiting, so I just want to ask. So you can drop your question there. I just want to ask, how long did it take you from when you started your tech journey before you got you got your first gig, like you ever got money from the tech that you've been learning? How long did it take you?
All right. So I think for me, it took me a while because initially I wasn't thinking about making money from it. So like I'll say it took me a year and probably a year and 3 months, a year and 6 months, because I was just reading books. I was reading books. I was doing a lot of like exercises, a lot of tutorials, just very good at it. So it was when my friends started seeing some of the quality of my work, then they started pushing me to try and make money from it, you know. And then I now started researching on how much web developers make online, how much they make while working remotely. And okay, I was like, okay, maybe it's worth it to start going online. But I'll say in with the amount of information that we have, you know, I'll say it should take you, and if you're really dedicated, okay, let's say you're not distracted. Okay, I'll say maybe if you are dedicating about 4 hours or 3 hours a day, I'll say it should take you about 3 to 4 to 6 months to learn the craft. And then so what usually takes the time is, you have to make yourself attractive. And that's maybe the only way I know to make yourself attractive in this ecosystem is to build quality projects. That's projects that stand out. And now in this time, we're in 2025 now. In 2016, 2017, you didn't really need to do much to stand out like that. But now, I'll say, has to stand out. Now we have TikTok, we have very complex websites or applications at the moment. So in order to stand out, you need to do something like that. Maybe integrate OpenAI into your application and all that, because you have to understand that um, you are competing with other guys. You're competing with the world when it comes to tech. That's You're competing with the world. So I had to stand out. That's why I built that health application. It took me a while to set it up, but what motivated me to do that was I was telling myself that I'm competing with Chinese people. Like my coworkers I have a guy guy from Poland, I have a guy from China, I have a guy from India, I have a guy from, I'm competing with all these guys, and you have to stand out. So it's fun. To me, it's fun. I'm like, okay, I can do something very good. And now the what also motivated me to build very, very complex and very, very complex and very, very, very good products was even if you after you build something really good, even if you don't it's always worth it in tech if you build something really good. There's always somebody that like see your product and they're like, okay, this guy is very good. I'm willing to pay you money, for it, So, and also you don't need to, compared to like other careers where you need to, like, for example, if you want to be a lawyer and you want to be marketable as a lawyer, you have to go to school for how many years? 7 years. And then if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school for 10 years to be marketable. But if in tech, you just need about 3, 4 months, build a very good project in 3, 4 months, or two good projects, and then you're instantly marketable. Like, that's what employers are looking for. What have you done? So that was what motivated me. I was like, okay, instead of going to school for 10 years, I can just build a very good project in 3, 4 months, and then I'm working for US, UK companies and all that. So I'll say, to answer your question, Wisdom, I'll say if you are dedicating about 3, 4 hours a day, I'll say about 4 to 6 months. And then I'll say allow like 2 months or 2 or 3 months to build a project. So in total that's 7 months, or 7 months to like 7 to 10 months, you're marketable.
That was without distraction, right?
Without distraction, without rain.
Without stopping coding for a break, like 1 month, getting into other
Yeah,
things. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. So we have a question here in the chat.
Okay.
It says we have learned CSS, HTML, and currently WordPress. What next? Then the second one is, are you saying we should rather learn React instead of PHP? So maybe you can take the two.
Okay, so the first one, so after learning CSS, HTML, WordPress, the next step is to start building projects with WordPress, right? The next step is now, okay, how can I market myself? So where I got the two jobs I'm working for, I got them through Upwork. And then, so what I did was, in order to apply for a job on Upwork, you need to create a proposal, you need to write a proposal. And so my proposal, what I usually do is I just tell them that, okay, this is what I've done. I can do your job because this is what I've done, right? So I just put the links to my personal projects there, like 3 or 4. Like, I can do this is what I've done. And they just click on the links and they're impressed with it. And they just, okay, this guy can do what I do. This guy can provide what I need. So the next step after learning WordPress is to just immediately start building projects. So for projects, it doesn't have to be a new idea. You can just go to a website that you like maybe YouTube, for example, and then you can now build a similar project like YouTube. Obviously, you change the name, you change the brand color and all that. But if you can build something like YouTube, that's impressive. But now, what I would say in this current environment, because it seems like everybody's integrating AI. So what you can do is you can build something like YouTube and then integrate AI. Maybe you can have like a search, you can have like an input field, and you can ask AI to suggest videos for the user to watch and all that. And that's really impressive. Like, to get a junior position, that is crazy. Like, there's no way, in my opinion, that an employer won't want to interview you, you know. So that's it. So yeah, that's it. Okay, so the second question here. Are you saying we should rather learn React instead of PHP? Yes. Yeah, I would say you should rather learn, well, I would say you should rather learn Node.js instead of PHP. PHP is a back-end language. React is a front-end language. Um, it's a front-end framework based on JavaScript. JavaScript is a front-end language. Node.js is a back-end language. So the reason why Node.js is preferred to PHP is so Node.js is what you call multi-threaded. PHP is single-threaded. So when Node.js was developed, Node.js is the reason why we have Zoom today. It's very difficult to build a Zoom application using PHP because it's single threaded. What I mean by single threaded is it's difficult to, as I'm talking, right? And it just, it's the way it works is I have to stop talking, right? And then the other person now hears what I say. So it's a step by step process. But um, Node.js is multi-threaded, so you can do different things at the same time. So that's the
Web.
benefit of Node.js. So that's the benefit of Node.js. So that's why most companies are moving away from PHP and embracing Node.js. I think Node.js is still in vogue now. Most of the jobs I see in 2025, the backend is built with Node.js. I think if right now Node.js, if you're a Node.js developer, you're fine. Yeah, so that's it. Yes, so that's why
Okay.
PHP is phased out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So, okay. So Daniel is still asking. He said,
Okay.
"Wow, are you saying it's possible to create a platform like YouTube with WordPress?"
Well, I think it should be possible. I mean, it's been a while since I used WordPress. But I work for a node code platform as well, Didify, and we've built some amazing projects. Currently, we built a social network. It's called Zala, using the platform. Um, yeah, I mean, YouTube is really not that difficult. If you once you just start it, it's really not that difficult. It's just simply, I think what's difficult is the live streaming. So that one you need um some actual coding and some Node.js frameworks. But for just rendering videos, because you're just simply you have videos in a database and you're fetching the videos paginated, and then you are searching for the videos and all that. So that should be easily done with WordPress.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, yeah, it's possible with WordPress. It's just more of if you do a little bit more research, you understand. It's just about the
I
layouts and
think it's
having your,
faster.
yeah, sure. Okay. So, any other question before we go ahead? Maybe someone wants to unmute and speak. Okay, so if there is none, we'll go to the next section that has to do with sharing practical advice on staying motivated, building a strong portfolio, and overcoming self-doubt.
Okay. Um. Okay. So, staying motivated. Personally, I don't have any issue with motivation. I don't have any issue with motivation. I don't know, maybe because I don't know. I don't know. Now I have bills to pay, so I have to get to work. You know.
But when you didn't have bills to pay, what's okay? Well,
Yeah.
how come you could stick to it? I think that might be the question. How
All right.
come you
So
could stick to it and and also I would like you to also relate it because I also need you to bring it to the reality of the current economic situation. Yeah,
okay.
because if you look at it maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, probably when you started, maybe you were in your parents' house, your uncle's house, where you were okay, and probably there was no much pressure to, yeah, get your own place, do this and that. So it was just like, okay, so every day you wake up, you have something. So at least 3, 4 hours you can stay on it. Then every other time you could probably do any other thing. But the reality of today is that there's a lot of pressure to even survive. That's the reality on ground, right? Especially in the Nigerian economy and other economies, though it's we are really feeling the impact of the inflation. So wherever you are, whether you're in your uncle's house, whether in your parents' house, whether you're in your own house, that pressure is there. You need the rising cost of things and all of that, and you still need to stay focused.
Yeah.
How can someone do this?
Okay, so I think the first step, so you have to think about programming as a high level skill, right? So it's a high level skill and it needs time to develop. You have to just accept it. You need time to develop the skill and you need time to make yourself marketable. So in an ideal situation, you want to be doing something, you want to have a main job that is bringing in money, that is paying the little bills. But in your mind, you know that this is temporal because you are going to be dedicating some time every day to the high level skill. That's why I tell some of my friends that want to get into tech who are already like under a lot of pressure. So and yeah, and so because why I say it's a high level skill as well is so that you don't rush it. Like you don't rush it. One thing about tech is once you know it and you're good, like I'm in Nigeria, I'm getting jobs. I'm doing jobs for the New York lottery. I didn't go to US or UK. I didn't get a job while I was in US or UK. I got a job here in Nigeria, like via Upwork. You know, crazy. So you have to accept that it's a high level school and it needs time. You need to be very good. Now, the reason why you need to be very good is because you have to understand that we're in a competitive environment and you have to just accept it. So you need to stand out. You need to stand out. I was in an interview process with like people from China, India, all these things, and I was able to outperform them. So you need to stand out. So I'm saying this that so you need to take your time. And then number two, I was sure that it was going to work out. I had a strategy. When I make the decision to make money from tech, I first had a strategy. I think that comes with because I'm also, I am Wisdom were chess players. And in in life, you once you have a strategy, I promise you, once you have a strategy, and what I mean by strategy is I knew where to get the money. you know, so I knew where to get the money from. So what I knew was I knew that all I needed was okay, if once I understand the skills that are required by the market. So at that time, what was required was at that time was obviously was HTML, CSS, PHP. So I knew that if I understood the market, I mean the skills that are required, then you build 3 or 4 very good projects that are responsive, they look good on mobile, they work, no bugs, and then I knew how to write. I researched on how to write like very good Upwork proposals, right? So I knew how to secure a job, once. So I knew that the first step was to understand the programming languages I was learning. I knew then build a project, build 3 or 4 projects, then create very good Upwork proposals, then just persevere in applying for jobs on Upwork or other platforms. Just persevere, and then that's how I was able to. So that was just I just okay. That's I'm just going to follow that strategy for a year and see if it works. And so that was just in my mind. So that was what kept me true because I had done a lot of research. I knew that okay, this path works. So you have to have that clarity in your mind that okay, you have to be 100% sure that this path works. And I still believe that this part still works at the moment. Before, I'll say before next year, with the AI thing, we can talk about AI later, but there's also a strategy for the new AI environment that we're entering in. Um, I've been having a lot of discussions with my coworkers and developers. So there's a way to survive in the AI environment, because everybody's saying that AI is going to take our jobs and all that, but there's a way to survive. We can talk about that later. So then to have that so that was the way I was able to stay motivated, because I knew that, okay, I've done a lot of research. I knew how much these people were making. I knew how much web developers were making in Nigeria. I knew how to get that money. And I knew that, okay, I just need to be patient with myself. It's a high level skill. I need to humble myself and just know this thing very well. I knew that I had to develop good projects to remain competitive and all that. So that was just kept me going and going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until I was
Okay.
able to get my first key and just keep on persevering and all that. So yeah, that's it. Like so that I think that should help. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think, Wisdom?
Yeah. So I think that
Or is
should
Wisdom?
work. Having a clear. Can you hear me?
Wisdom, I don't know.
I can hear you. Can anyone hear me, please? Apart from Ugo. Okay. Can you hear me, Ugo?
Hello, Wisdom.
I can hear you.
Okay. I heard you talking about Python. What is the place of um, Python knowledge in web development, or just a big knowledge?
Okay,
Okay. I said,
what's the place?
what's the place of Python in web development, or just the basic knowledge of Python is enough? And also, do you have when coming up, do you ever have a mentor, physical or online, like virtually? And also, I have a lot of questions though, but let me just
Yeah.
keep them in. Like, so we have learned about WordPress, and learning this should help us make cool money to some extent.
Yeah.
But we are giving the cPanel, the hosting link, and the rest.
Yeah.
So I just want to have some, just give me a clear understanding of cPanel, Namecheap, web hosting, and the rest, so that I will just, because I've been what has it has been giving me some bit of concern because it's not clear to me yet. So that's my three questions. It's not my three questions.
Okay. Wisdom, do you want me to answer the questions in this segment or?
Um, so so I think just take this question, then after that we'll go into jobs, getting jobs. Just this is question. We'll go into getting jobs before we now have the final time for okay, after getting jobs, we also have maybe a resume and interview tips before we now have another Q&A session before we close. So you can address this question quickly.
Okay, I think your first question was about Python and the place of Python, the place Python occupies in web development, and whether it's worth learning Python. So my issue with Python is that you can't really do a lot of remote jobs. So like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js, these are the languages you need to set up a website, right? Most most people, they have, like, people that have a lot of money in their bank, for example, they wake up and they say they want to build a website, they have an idea and all that. So that's why there are a lot more jobs for people with those skills. That's Node.js, JavaScript, WordPress. There are a lot more jobs for people with those skills because there are a lot of people, there's a lot of demand for those skills because people want to set up websites every day. They want to set up e-commerce website, they want to set up on all that. So you don't use Python to build websites or mobile applications. Mostly use Python for like heavy lifting stuff like AI and machine learning and all that, which is fine. You can learn Python, but you will need to, the market for Python will be maybe all these big companies like Microsoft, Facebook, those companies are really into machine learning, AI, and all that. But as a web developer, your market is kind of like everybody, including those fund companies as well. But the only issue is that you have to be aware that as a web developer, you need to stand out. There's a lot of competition. You need to stand out. So whatever you're doing, your projects, they need to stand out. They need to be excellent. Yeah. So then I can't remember the second question. Sorry, Daniel.
The second question is about mentorship.
Oh,
So,
okay.
because I learned that mentorship also play a greater role, and those that could see you through. Because I can testify to that. My data analytics journey, I had to intern with somebody, and I got some discovery about data science, and I was able to take up job on my own. So, is that also required that maybe you have to go under somebody and learn? It was any time that you had to work under somebody when you're learning?
I was thinking, yeah. So no, I didn't really have a mentor, but if I had a mentor, it wouldn't have taken me that much time. Um, okay, if I had a mentor, it wouldn't have taken me that much time. Maybe. So, but my own was I just did a lot of research on Google. Um, I did lots of research on Google on how to navigate the market. So I was able to do that research, and that helped me a lot. But if you have a mentor that you respect, if you find a mentor that you respect, that will help you a lot in what do you call it, in speeding up the process, or in navigating the market, the environment, so that um you can benefit from his wisdom. Because obviously, me doing it on my own, obviously I made some mistakes along the way. Maybe if I had a mentor, I would have made some of those mistakes and all that. So yeah, if you can afford a mentor, and that's fine. That's the thing. These guys, it costs money.
Okay. So we still have another Q&A session. So let's just go into the next section of finding jobs, because that's also another question. We've talked about the skill, talked about time that you need to dedicate, talked about probably what you need to learn, but how do you find the jobs? How did you find your own job, and how can we find jobs?
Okay, so how I found my job was through Upwork. So the process was so the first step was obviously learning the skills that were in demand, and then as I said, building 3 projects that were really good, responsive. So they showcased the project showcased my understanding of the technology, how good how I was able to use those projects to explain how my level of understanding of the technology um, showed interaction with like third-party APIs and all that. So whenever I see a job description, right, I look at what they're looking for. So some of them may say they're looking for someone that has knows how to interact with third-party APIs. Then I'll pick out one of my projects. I'm like, yo, this is my project. I was able to interact with, for example, I was able to interact with like the weather application to do weather API to get like latest weather information. So you can see I was able to tailor my projects to the job description, what was required, what they're looking for. And I can tell you that all the jobs I've gotten, there is no job I got by luck. As in the sense that these guys, once they saw my proposal and they looked at their job description, they were like, okay, you are the best match. That was just it. They just saw that, okay, I'm the best match. This is what exactly what I'm looking for. You know React, you know how to interact with your APIs. You've done this, you've done that, you've done this, you've done that. So that's just, there is no shortcuts. You know, it's either you match the job description or you don't. So the place I got all my jobs was Upwork. So how I was able to get jobs on Upwork, you know, writing a good proposal that I took my time to read most of the job descriptions. I wasn't really in a hurry to just send a proposal. Some people just send a proposal that doesn't how will I say, kind of like a template proposal, just a template like cover letter or whatever. So, but me, I took my time to read what they're looking for and then tailor my proposal to what's they are looking for, you know. So they're looking for, like I said, they're looking for like a React developer. I'll say I'm a React developer. These projects will be to React. They're saying they are looking for someone that knows WordPress. I'll say I'm a WordPress developer. Look at some of my projects that be to WordPress, you know. And their proposals are meant to be very short, you know, because most of these Upwork jobs, they have like these guys get like 200 applicants in a space of 5 minutes. So my proposals were always very succinct, straight to the point, you know. And another thing is it also helps to be so what I was doing was I'll have the Upwork tag, the Upwork open up my web on my browser, the page, the website open on my browser, and then I'll hit refresh and I see the most recent jobs that were posted. And then when I see that, then I just apply. So I think the first come first serve actually is actually one of the parameters for giving yourself the best chance to get a job on Upwork, to be honest. So that helped as well. Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So if you go to the most recent tab now at the bottom, so where you have jobs you might like, um, my feed, most recent, exactly. So like I said, this one is 29 minutes ago, so I don't even bother. Yeah, I don't bother 29 minutes ago. So anything older than 10 minutes ago, just forget about it. It's not going to see your application. So anything less than 10 minutes there, you can still apply and still be still be very laser focused with the proposal. Yeah. So if you yeah, exactly. So that's just basically it. Um
Okay, so you can see this upwork.com, right? If you don't have a profile, you can't create one for yourself. Yeah, he has already talked about things you can do, proposals. So I think maybe what you may want to see or love to see is maybe his sample proposals, because
yeah.
yeah, personally I've also created an account on Upwork, as you can see. But I think I had two issues, right? One of them was, how do you price yourself in terms of, um, yeah, to look at, let me see, Just let me open my profile. Just a
Okay.
moment. So I had that issue of how to price my skill, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. So I actually put, I said $20.99 per hour. And I was just
Yeah.
thinking, is this okay? Is this not okay? I've not even added projects. I know I'm supposed to add projects, so that when
Yeah.
people go through your profile, they'll be able to see all of this. So, but this is really how, Upwork.com looks like. And what I would have really loved is for him to show us a sample um, proposal
Proposal.
that has got him something.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
All right, let me share my screen. 1 second.
okay.
That screen. So I'll need to quit and reopen Zoom. Just 1 second. Okay, I had to um quit Zoom and open it up so I can share my screen.
But are you sure you have the permission?
Yeah, I had to add permission and then
Oh, okay. So you have permission now.
permission out. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So basically, let's say I was just creating this today. Okay. Yeah. So when Wisdom sends me a message, so okay, let's say you have a job that is looking for a React developer or somebody that has like full stack experience. They're looking for a full stack developer, right? So this is kind of like a template that I have, right? A very simple template. So based on the job description, I just read your post. It sounds like you need a professional React developer with full stack experience. I have a background in building solid React application, 5 to 6 years of experience. Take a look at my latest projects. Then I write down my projects here. So then if I notice that they're looking for something specific, right? Or sometimes I'll just type all, for example, all the projects above were developed using React, React JS, and maybe if they have Node.js as well in the job description, maybe MongoDB as the database. Um, yeah, maybe I'll just have something as simple as this. What they really need is just the things that you've developed. Like, so I just put like maybe the top three that I've developed. So for example, this was how would I say, my first big job, Tissimo. So you can see here, I was lead web developer here. So they come and they see this. And then, so it was like an online music lessons application. And then this one is where I'm currently working, New Poetry, one of the projects I'm currently working on. Um, so now if they are looking for something specific now, like, okay, you're a React developer, but we want to we want somebody that I'll say which example now. We want somebody that has experience maybe interacting with third party APIs, right? So I can come and I'll say, okay, all the projects are developed using React, Node.js, MongoDB. That's if they are looking for these technologies in the job description. If nothing like that is in the job description, maybe just React in job description, or just put just React. Then I'll be like, additionally, you will like the first project above, because maybe it's it utilizes the Google Maps API to fetch location data or something, right? So just straightforward, simple like that. Because if you one thing I noticed about when I was applying, if you have too much information, they just keep you like, this is too much. They just want something that is straightforward, to the point, based on what they are looking for. They are looking for a specific skill. Most of these guys, they're looking for something specific. They have a specific problem that they have, and they're looking for something specific to solve that problem. So let me see if I can find a let me see if I can find a job that I may want to apply for. Okay, so ready is okay. For example, this one now. So they're looking for an experienced Node.js developer with Redis integration expertise for Strapi CMS. So I've developed projects using Node.js, Redis, and Strapi. I've used Strapi as well. So this is something I can actually apply for. So we are currently using a hosted Strapi on our framework, and we're looking to enhance scalability. We're asked to skill who has Strapi, Redis, Strapi. Apply only if you have completed pages over Strapi and Bushfire. So you can see they're looking for examples and all that. So what I'll do, I'll take this my templates. Yeah. So all these projects, they use Node.js backend. So I'll be like, all their projects are above utilizes Node.js as its preferred backend language, right? Then I'll leave a space, and I'm like, additionally, you will like the second project above. It uses Strapi CMS to manage we use it to manage games. I'll say about 3 games related information. Such as game name, game name, description, draw times, so much more, right? So they are specifically looking for version 5, so I'll add version 5 to it. So additionally, you would like the second project above, as it uses Strapi CMS version 5 to monitor tree games with the information such as the and then also they are looking for Redis. Yeah. So you can add another paragraph.
We'll find it after.
Likewise, in the third project above, I implemented Redis. Yeah, Redis to manage So we usually use Redis to manage like authentication information, authentication and authorization of users or something. Users log in to a platform, sign up, log in and sign up to our platform. Creation and authorization of users likewise in a third project or website that will implemented Redis manage. Yeah, so I'm just straight up. That's it. Best regards, Ago. So they can quickly read this. Okay, you've implemented Strapi in the past. What do you use it for? What do you use it to do? To manage lottery games related information such as then in the third website I implemented Redis to manage. So they can now, okay, this job description I just created, this guy is looking like a good match, right? They will click on the links, right? I said added all these other ones because they required someone who has understanding of Node.js as the backend. So if, for example, they said, okay, they want somebody that has just Golang, right? So Golang backend, that's something I also know as well. So this is the only project I use Golang. I'll probably just have that project there, you know. I'll probably just remove all this and then talk about this project if they're looking for a Golang developer. And I'll talk about why I use Golang to do and all that, and why I prefer to use Golang than Node.js and all that. So you can see it's straightforward, it's easy to read. There are a lot of spaces, there's not too much text, and all the information is just straightforward, right? So if you're somebody that is, and most people that come on Upwork, they're looking to hire fast. So if it was you're applying for an actual job like outside Upwork and they want to take their time, they usually hire after like they usually take their time to hire like 3 months, 4 months to hire. Then you can now start putting everything that you want, all the information about your life and all that. But with Upwork, they're just looking for someone that matches the job description straight up. So I can actually send this proposal and apply for the job and hopefully gets called for an interview, message for an interview, because I've used all these things. So um I usually apply for jobs and I'm at least 85% match, because obviously on Upwork it costs money to apply for jobs. So I usually apply for jobs at least 80 to 85% match. So this one I'm 100% match. I will apply for it. So all these ones are like React Native. I don't know anything about React Native. I won't touch this one. Because I've made that mistake in the past. So like people make that mistake because might be tempted to make that mistake where they are looking for, okay, I think at that time they were looking for a Laravel developer. Now I went to apply because I know Laravel is built on top of PHP, but it still needed about a month or okay, I'll say about 2 weeks to learn Laravel, and I didn't have any knowledge of Laravel. But because I had knowledge of PHP, I was thinking that okay, maybe I can just try my best, and it didn't work out. And luckily for me, they didn't give me a bad review on Upwork. So that was a big lesson for me. So I always try to apply at least 80 to 85% of it. So let's say they use something else instead of Redis, and maybe they had they are using Strapi, but it's still Node.js, Strapi, and maybe something else. I'll still apply. I'll give that a shot. Yeah. So that's it. I know that's just simple as this, bro. But you need to be very confident that okay, you have used technology 1, 2, and 3 that you're looking for. So that's just it, to be honest.
Wow. So I'm saying wow because personally, I've been applying for jobs on Upwork for the past how many years, and I've never known a template so simple as this, honestly speaking. What I just use the normal job application, writing these are my
No,
qualifications,
bro, it doesn't
you
work.
know.
It doesn't I was initially.
So so that's what I was doing. But when I saw your own, pretty simple, straight to the point, you are
Yeah.
hitting the nail directly on the head. There's no time to waste, no time for too much grammar. Straight to the point. You need this. Oh, I have this. Look at what I have done that showcases the usage of XYZ. It goes
Exactly.
straight to the point. Best regards, you
Yeah.
put your name. So somebody can now go to the links and assess if you're best fit. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I'm just saying, wow, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So finally,
Actually,
before we
do you
give,
want me I can send this proposal maybe after the
okay,
call.
yeah. So you can, yeah, after that you can send me so I could drop on the group chat. You could also drop on the group
Yeah.
chat here, and you could also send it to me. So
Okay.
anyone.
All right.
Okay, so I think finally we'd just look at resume tips because that's another thing, resume tips and acing interviews because it's still another part of it. Applying for jobs is there, but how do you ace interviews? Are there some, things are there things we need to know even on our resume, right? Are there redundant things we probably may have been putting in our resumes that may not get us what we are looking for? So I don't know if you can just make one or two comments on that. Then we now give room for Q&A before we close. Thanks.
Okay. Uh so okay, I'm trying to send. Okay, I think it's saying it's too long to send the stuff. I'll send it to you later.
Yeah, yeah, great. Can be later. Thanks.
All right, so for resume, so at this point, most of I think all the jobs I've gotten was based on my Upwork proposal. I mean, they asked for my CV later on, maybe if they want to give me like a promotion or something, just to have it. But I've never really, I don't think my resume has been a direct consequence to getting a job. I don't think it's always been my proposal. They'll tell me that they liked my proposal. Nobody has ever told me that they liked my resume. They just say they like my proposal, they see my projects, and that's what they told me. They tell me.
Wow.
Yeah, so but that's because I'm applying through Upwork,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
So but with regards to interviews, right? So with regards to interviews, you have to be on time, you have to have your camera on, and you have to look good. You can see, like, even I'm just used to coming on camera wearing a nice shirt and you I'm just used to it. Like you have to you
Mm,
can't just I mean I've because I've done conducted interviews as well for like this company I'm working with in the
okay.
UK. So I've conducted and some things that we see is crazy. Like
People will be
some
on their beds.
people be on their bed. Or somebody that was in the car. Oh, come on. Like you also have respect for these people a little bit. So you should be sitting on a desk, sitting and then yeah, your appearance matters a lot to these guys. And then so what gives me confidence is that so you can see the way I structured my proposal, right? I know that the job I'm applying for, I'm a very good match. 80% is very good. I'm a very good match. So I'm very confident. I'm always confident in the interview. I think even the interview, when I had interview for this UK job I'm working for, so when I applied, the CEO, so I was talking to the CEO, James, I think he told me after getting a job, after like 2 or 3 months, when he saw the quality of my work, he told me that he was kind of expecting me to fail or something because I was so confident in the interview that he was like, why is this guy too confident? Like, that kind of thing. It was like, so he was like, yo, this guy can't be real. That's what he was saying in his mind. He was like, yo, this guy can't be real. But why should I not be confident? I've when I've done the work and I'm applying for a job that I'm very good at. That was what I was telling. I was like, I'm very good at this. Yeah, I can remember I was telling him that, he was looking for a React developer. I was like, I'm very good at it. Look at my work. Look at my projects. You know, I'm very good at it. I'm a perfect fit. So that's what I was just telling him, and he was okay. Fine. So he was not thinking, so he took it as arrogance, and it's not
Oh.
arrogance, it's the truth. It's not arrogance, it's a fact. I'm very good in React, bro. And so, he saw the quality of my work and everything. And so in the space of 4 or 5 months, they gave me a promotion. Now I'm senior solutions architect from full stack developer they employed me as. So um and the way to build that confidence is just I promise you, if you just do 3 projects with what whether it's WordPress, React, like nobody should tell you nonsense. Nobody should tell you that you're not good. You're good. You're not, and again, you're not expected to know. Okay, like I've never built um okay, for example, I've never built a trading platform like Binance, for example, right? So, but because I've never built something like Binance, that doesn't mean I cannot do it
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the tools that are used to build it. So, I think as a junior, as you guys may have that problem, because I initially when I was starting off, I had that fear that okay, if they tell me to build a chat a chat application like maybe WhatsApp, something like WhatsApp. I've never done it before, but that doesn't mean I should not be confident, because I understand the tools. You guys have ChatGPT now, bro. Like, and then there's a lot of you have the internet, you can do a lot of research. So you should still be confident because you understand the tools, you use it to build other projects in the past. So you should just take it as a challenge. And that's how it is. Just take it as a challenge and you just focus on winning and all that. Um so the interview, so yeah, so that interview, you have to have that confidence. Because they will try and test your confidence. They are looking for someone good. This company are looking for someone very good. So they will try and test it. And you have to be confident that, oh, okay, yeah, you're gonna do a good job. I think yeah. So I think another another interview point is whenever they ask a question like coding question and all that, just answer it straight to the point. Don't beat around the bush. If you don't know it, tell them you don't know it. I know it's crazy, but just tell them that's the best. It's the best than trying to some guys who try to ask to beat around the bush. It doesn't work, you know. If you just tell them that you don't, instead of giving a wrong answer, just tell them that okay, this is something that I will say this is something that I've forgotten or something. I think I've forgotten how to resolve this, but it's something that I can resolve after. I can send you a solution after the call or something, but it's something I've forgotten because you're not in programming in the tech. You're not expected to remember everything. You know, I mean, maybe if you can answer part of the question, that's fine. But you should, if you don't know it, it's best to say you don't know it. It's best to just say you don't know it. Yeah, that's the best. I know it's crazy, but in my opinion, it's the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still have. Okay. So, yeah, thanks. So I think that's that. We'll have final questions, Q&A. So, before we now take summary of the point, and I know some people might want to know how they could reach our experts, yeah, because he's our experts as much as we know, yeah. So you may want to network with him later and all of that. So finally, are there any questions? So we just take them finally before we wrap up.
Yeah, I have this thing.
Okay, go ahead, Emeka.
Thank you for the class. In Upwork, when you apply, do you bid? There are sometimes that you bid for that. Like, I'm the expert. Does it bid for connection or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I think unfortunately, I think when I initially it's back in 2016, 2017, there was nothing like bidding and bidding, you know. But now you just have to, yeah, you just have to bid, to be honest. Um, but I'll say whenever I bid, it depends on my match. If I'm 100% match, then I spend more money. If I'm 80% match, I don't I don't spend more money. I don't spend that much. Maybe like I'll be like 10 connects, you know. Yeah, so what bidding works, bidding, you know, it puts your proposal to the top. Um, yeah, you just have to anything that can make you stand out, you just have to do it, to be honest. You just have to because bidding helps, so you just have to bid. Um, Fortunately. But
All right, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, we'll just summarize the key points. Um, I know while he was speaking, I took note of some points which I would just like to reiterate. One of the things he said was that you need to make yourself attractive by building quality projects. So look for something that is really challenging,
Yeah.
and clone it. So another thing is that there are even you can go to YouTube. You will see other projects that people have done. They've cloned some website like Twitter. You can see Twitter clone. You can see Facebook clone. You just take the video and you follow the video. As you play it, you build it. So that
Exactly.
you would not take too long in trying to clone, because you might look at Twitter and you say you want to clone it, and you're like, so where do I start from? You may just be confused. You may know the skills, but how do you start? So, but by following a tutorial, following a video on YouTube, it gives you an idea. Oh, okay, this is how this person started. Okay, he got a logo, got this, downloaded the assets, started, created the layout, put in the pictures, brought in the feeds, did this, created a space for text, a space for comment, built the backend. You would be able to see step by step on how that person went through. So for me, you really don't even need to spend money on buying tech courses. People do it, but for me, I don't think there are cheaper ways to still achieve your goal, right? So
Yeah.
be smart enough, go to YouTube, check out those videos, check out quality videos from quality programmers, challenging things they've done, follow it. So if you follow it, you can look for 3, 4 projects, quality project, and it might take time. Of course, you need to put in the time, because another thing he mentioned was that you should accept programming as a high level skill that you need to devote time to. So it's not something that you garbage in and you garbage out. It's something that you stay, because it's more like a career path. It's like somebody going to do a master's. You would give time to it. You would devote time to it, right? It's not something you could maybe few weeks and you're tired, you're giving up, you want to go into something else. So it's something that you need to understand is a high level skill, something that would sustain you, pay you, and give you a chance for some kind of good fortune. So
Yeah.
role of mentor in tech. Yeah, he talked about it, that probably if he had a mentor, he would have been able to overcome or not make some of the mistakes. So if you have a mentor, that's fine. So, but if you do not even have a mentor, you can do some research, just like he did. Because all that I hear him say is research. I keep hearing research, 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 research. He kept asking questions. What are the trends? What are the industry trends in the tech field? What are people learning? What are companies looking for? Right? And from there, another thing I hear him say was when he talked about learning skills according to job description. So it means that even though you don't have a pathway to learn, and probably you've started learning Node.js, for example, you can check a sample job description that looks for a Node.js developer, and you'd be able to say, okay, a Node.js developer should have MongoDB skills, should have like SQLite, should have like TypeORM, different skills. So you'd be able to see, you should be able to perform authentication and authorization with this and all of that. So with that, it can give you an outlook on how your learning journey would look like, so that by the time you are done, you'd be able to beat your chest that you can be a perfect match, or you're a perfect match for jobs that you are going to be seeing, flying around. So I also took note of that. He said, yeah, learning according to job description, I've talked about that. You need to stand out and outperform. He said that. I took note of that. You are competing with a lot. There's fierce competition in the tech industry, more than it was 6-7 years ago when he started out and all of that. There is even more fierce competition. So you really need to stand out. So it's something that is a decision you just need to take, and you know that this is the path I'm following, and I must hit the end at the end of the day, right? So I think those are the few points I took down. Yeah. So I think finally, I don't know, do we have, can you give us final thoughts? Just final thoughts in 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's I would say that um what will help you in your journey, like, like I said before, like what will help you in your journey is to have a plan, a strategy. So currently, I don't know if the strategy still works. My strategy was obviously learn, learn, okay, let's say learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, Node.js. And then, and also the way I was able to learn those technologies was at that time was using a book. If you want to use YouTube videos, fine. If you want to use courses, fine. You know, so the reason why I used that book was because for each concept in React, for example, was you build a project at the same time. So almost every chapter you're building something like a to-do app or a simple weather application and all that. So it was kind of like killing two birds with one stone. So that's the first step, learning your craft. Then the second step was to build projects. Like you said, you can simply go on YouTube. I wish I ever knew that. You can go on YouTube and just simply how they clone the application. You can just follow them, understand how they did it, implement it, so that if you ask question about the project, you can be able to answer. So you build something that you know that can make you stand out, that can make you attractive, and that can make you marketable. If you see, like, for example, the job description I showed you, I've already all the because I'm working for a complex website or complex organization like the New York Lottery. So I've already been exposed to Strapi, Redis, and some other frameworks. So that's why it's always nice to build complex projects, because you'll be exposed to other frameworks that were used in building the project. And that can also make you a good match for a job. And then the third one, the third the third path in the strategy was, okay, then figure out how to create. So I had to research how to create upwork proposals that actually get jobs and all that. So that's how I was able to come up with that template that is straightforward, and that worked for me. And then also, you won't get a job immediately. You have to just persevere. Just keep applying. And okay, maybe after 1 week, if you notice, but you have to also um, be honest with yourself. If you're applying is not working, you change the strategy a little bit. you find out why it's not working. So maybe you need to apply earlier. Maybe you need to, unfortunately, maybe you need to bid more. You know, I don't know why Upwork is greedy now, but unfortunately, maybe you need to bid more and all that. So you now be tweaking your strategy as well. And then okay, yeah, I think then you get the job, and once you get the job, you should be confident for the interview as well. Um, so I think that's it. So,
Yeah.
but I want to say another final one. Um, we also need to keep at the back of our mind, because me, I like to be real. I like to face reality. I'm not. I'm positive, and sometimes I'm pessimistic. Like I like to combine two of them and face reality and accept it. Now we're entering into an AI environment, and these AI products are getting very smart. Um, so I would say, and some of these, you go on YouTube, you ask questions about um, the will AI affect my progress in my career and all that and all that. Some of them might lie to you and everything. But I'll say right now, in addition to building your projects, in addition to learning to code, I'll say you should also embrace AI. AI can also help you do things quicker. And then also, I'll say if you are building projects, I think one of your projects should be involved using AI. Because now we're heading towards, and now I'll say it's even a waste of time to apply for the big companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter. I want advice to apply for the big companies, because now they are trying to replace the junior developers with AI agents. So an AI agent is kind of like a developer that codes or writes codes and thinks on his own and everything. So, but there will still be a market for those guys that come on Upwork. That's why to me Upwork is the best place to get jobs. There's a market for people that come on Upwork. But even right now, I'm working a project with some of my friends that we're trying to use AI to we're trying to train an AI bots to do some tasks. So that's where the world is getting into, and that's and I've accepted it. That's where we're getting into a little bit. So I need to keep that in mind as well. I think the world is getting towards training AI robots, to do stuff instead of getting training human beings to write code, and like they're now training AI to write code. So that's where the world is getting into. So, but it's nothing to panic about. You just have to accept it. Like, okay, keep it at the back of your mind that okay, at some point you may need to be able to train an AI bot, like an open AI to solve a problem. So that's where the future is heading
Okay.
towards. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ugo. But she's asking, I think Chidima is asking, is it possible to get the name of the book? The name of the
Oh,
book you
okay.
talked about that you learned that
Oh,
had
yeah.
projects in every.
That's a very good book. I'll type it now. It's called Pro React 16 by Adam Freeman. I think you should be able to download it for free on Google. If you can find a free copy there, I'll type it. Adam Freeman. This is a very good book. Um, very, very good book. It's quite long, but um yeah, if you can finish it up, I think if you can finish up this book, you're automatically a React expert immediately. You know,
I agree with you.
immediately. Yeah,
Okay.
immediately. I promise you that. I promise you that. Yeah.
All right. So thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate your time. And also we appreciate our host, Ugo Gujefo. He's my very good friend, and I think we'll continue to work together thank you for the insights that you've given. At least it gives us a sense of confidence and courage to continue to persevere, and also gives us some kind of direction and focus to say, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's happening, and helps us to channel our energies better in order to get to our destination, right? So
Yeah.
thanks everyone once again, and I really appreciate your time. Yeah, so I'll make the recordings available so that you can always go through them later. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
And okay, so how can we get, if someone wants to network with you? I think that was the last thing we didn't talk about. LinkedIn, how,
Yeah.
if people want to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
Okay, I'll get a link. Yeah, because I'm actually very online on LinkedIn. So if you message me on LinkedIn, I get a notification and I'll probably reply quickly. I'll post the link to my profile on the chat, and then you can just send me a message. You can just connect with me, and then I'll connect with you guys.
And also, if just in case you don't get some response, you could always still go through to me. From me, I
Yeah.
could get to him. So, um, all right. So I think that's fine. Thanks everyone once again, and bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.